I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
2020 was almost the year without movies. With multiplexes closed around the world for a substantial part of the year, many of us turned to the small screen for entertainment. With a lot of time on our hands, there were tons of shows new and old to watch. From event series to new streaming launches, the variety of shows is only matched by the quality. In fact, there have been so many excellent shows that aired this year, it was hard to whittle down the list to just these. So if you think we missed one of your favorite shows, let us know in the comments below. Here is JOBLO.com's top 10 television series of 2020. Our full top 20 list can be read over at JOBLO.com and features 10 series that did not crack the top of our list. Our notable honorable mention goes to HBO Max's Raised by Wolves. With the first episodes helmed by Ridley Scott in his North American television series directorial debut, Raised by Wolves is a unique science fiction epic that tackles the topic of religion in a fantastic manner. With surreal visuals and a uniquely haunting score, the cast of Raised by Wolves delivers, especially leading roles by Viking star Travis Fimmel and a breakout performance by Amanda Collin. This is a wholly original science fiction story that is unlike anything else on the airwaves. Number 10. The Boys. I will be honest and say that I was not a huge fan of the first season of The Boys. When I first reviewed it, the series felt like a mediocre cross between Mystery Men and Watchmen. But after rewatching it, I grew fonder of the story, especially as it reached the dark season finale. Season 2 is a marked improvement over the first, with a much darker tone despite some solid humor. Carl Urban and Anthony Starr continue to steal every scene they appear in, while Aya Cash makes Liberty the breakout character of the season. Showrunner Eric Kripke once again manages to take a comic book that many thought of as unfilmable and make it into destination television. This is the series fans of the source material hoped for, and one of the best comic book adaptations in a long time. Number 9. Lovecraft Country. When your series is advertised as a joint collaboration between Jordan Peele and J.J. Abrams, you likely have high expectations. Lovecraft Country shatters those by telling a story that blends horror, fantasy, and science fiction with a timely tale of race. While this series was created and filmed before the Black Lives Matter movement, this story could not have debuted at a better moment. With star-making turns by Jonathan Majors and Jurnee Smollett, Misha Green's adaptation of Matt Ruff's novel takes the source material and expands it to create a musically charged epic that ventures from Chicago to Massachusetts, rural America to the front lines of the Korean War, all peppered with the monstrous creations of H.P. Lovecraft lurking in the shadows. Lovecraft Country is a sexy, violent, and powerful series that is deeply rooted in genre storytelling while still defying cliches and stereotypes. Number 8. Bojack Horseman. After 6 seasons on the air, Netflix's animated series came to an end this year. Despite mixed reviews when it premiered, the series would grow a dedicated fan base who appreciated the show's realistic take on what it means to be human, despite the main character being a horse. With the voices of Will Arnett, Amy Sedaris, Alison Brie, Paul F. Tompkins, and Aaron Paul, and a slew of guest stars, Bojack's struggles with addiction and depression populate stories set in an alternate Hollywood where humans and animals coexist. The ridiculousness of the premise may have prevented a wider audience from appreciating the series, but Bojack Horseman told a brilliant story over 77 episodes that rivals the quality of series like The Simpsons, Archer, South Park, and more. If you like your comedy with a dose of the surreal and a heavy amount of socio-political commentary, Bojack is your show. Number 7. Better Call Saul. After 5 seasons, it is getting harder and harder to say anything new about Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould's companion series to Breaking Bad that hasn't already been said. Led by Bob Odenkirk, Rhea Seehorn, and Jonathan Banks, Better Call Saul has transformed the character of Jimmy McGill as much as Walter White grew from mild-mannered chemistry teacher to drug kingpin. With 1 season to go, Better Call Saul continued to plow ahead to the events of the start of Breaking Bad. With the feud between Gus Fring and the Salamancas growing, the series has turned Giancarlo Esposito's villain into a 3-dimensional creation. While we also learn more and more about Banks' Mike Ehrmantraut, the central coupling of Jimmy and Kim Wexler continues to provide some of the best acting we have seen on the small screen. While we know where Saul, Mike, and Gus end up, this season continues to keep viewers on the edge, and that is a sign of top-notch storytelling. Number 6. The Queens Gambit. How could a series about chess be one of the most compelling dramas of the year? Take the talents of star Anya Taylor-Joy and the writing skills of Scott Frank, who also directed every episode. With actual chess masters like Garry Kasparov consulting on the games played in the series, The Queen's Gambit rocketed to become one of the most watched series in Netflix history for a reason. The immaculate production design and tackling of topics ranging from substance abuse to gender discrimination are central to the story of a young orphan's rise to the top tier of the chess world that treats a board game as thrillingly as a boxing match. The Queens Gambit is a period piece about a bygone era, but rather than evoke nostalgia, it organically tells a story reflective of the 1960s. A fresh take on tried and true themes, this is a limited series that will keep you glued from start to finish. Number 5. Schitt's Creek. I started watching this comedy just before the final season debuted. I don't know how I skipped it for 4 seasons despite Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy being 2 of the most reliable comic talents of the last half-century. With Dan Levy proving himself to be one of the most talented writers working today, and with great turns by Annie Murphy, Chris Elliott, Emily Hampshire, and the entire ensemble, Schitt's Creek is as hilarious as it is heartfelt. Blending the small-town oddities of shows like Parks and Recreation with a non-stop run of quotable lines, the series wrapped up this year at the height of its popularity rather than overstaying its welcome. Starting out as what seemed like a take on Christopher Guest's classic comedies, Schitt's Creek found a rhythm of telling a serial story that developed the Rose family from narcissistic and vapid to one of the most likable families in television history. I defy you to watch this show and not have a smile on your face by the time you finish. Number 4. The Mandalorian. The first season of The Mandalorian showed the world the potential Star Wars had on the small screen. Taking a cue from the serials that inspired George Lucas, Disney Plus found themselves sitting on a gold mine thanks to Pedro Pascal's understated performance as the titular character, accompanied by the damn cute Baby Yoda. With the currently airing second season, Favreau and Clone Wars creator Dave Filoni have brought fan-favorite animated characters to live action in Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff, and Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson. While each episode utilizes a Quest of the Week format, it has turned the world away from binge-watching series in one sitting to discussing and theorizing about what will come next week to week. With improved production values and special effects, the second season of The Mandalorian has improved over last year in every way and shown everyone that we need more live-action Star Wars television series in our lives. Number 3. Perry Mason. Over 50 years since the Raymond Burr television series defined courtroom procedurals on the small screen, Roland Jones and Ron Fitzgerald reimagined the classic character of Perry Mason for a new generation. Originally set to star Robert Downey Jr., who remains a producer, the series features the American star Matthew Rhys in the title role as the private detective turned attorney at law. Rolling the time period back to post-World War I Los Angeles, this series blends the brutality of Boardwalk Empire with a noir sensibility. This is a devastating mystery that pulls no punches as it rockets towards its conclusion, with a cast featuring Juliet Rylance as Della Street, Chris Chalk as cop Paul Drake, Shea Wiggum as Pete Strickland, and John Lithgow as Mason's mentor E.B. Jonathan. This reboot takes familiar characters from the source material and invigorates them. Definitely one of the best mysteries of the year. Number 2. The Outsider. Stephen King adaptations are usually very good or very bad. Thankfully, The Outsider is very, very good. Based on King's 2018 novel, which is connected to his Bill Hodges trilogy, side note, see Mr. Mercedes on Peacock for connections to this story, The Outsider follows Georgia detective Ralph Anderson, played by Ben Mendelsohn, who investigates the grisly murder of a local child supposedly at the hands of teacher and Little League coach Terry Maitland, played by Jason Bateman. Despite evidence that shows Maitland in 2 distant places at the same time, Anderson decides to delve further with the help of savant investigator Holly Gibney, played by Cynthia Erivo. As the story unfolds, things get stranger and more horrific before coming to a shocking conclusion. With episodes directed by Bateman himself, as well as Karen Kusama, and writing by Richard Price, Dennis Lehane, and others, The Outsider defies what you may expect from a Stephen King story. Even though scripts for a second season have been written, HBO passed on a sophomore run of the show. Even if it never garners additional episodes, The Outsider works as a tense thriller worthy of comparisons to True Detective, with superb turns by Mendelsohn and Erivo. Number 1. Fargo. Noah Hawley's adaptation of the Coen brothers' classic film should never have worked. Over the first 3 seasons, the FX anthology series has not only paid respect to the feature film, but has created a genre unto itself. This year, the 4th entry in the saga took a very different perspective as it chronicled the gangland rivalry between the Italian and African American crime families in 1950s Kansas City. Led by Jason Schwartzman and Chris Rock, this season of Fargo ranks as one of the best crime stories ever put on film, with a breakout performance from Jesse Buckley. A brutal and darkly funny epic, the 4th season of Fargo is a masterpiece. So there you have it, the best series of 2020. If you want to check out the full top 20 list, head on over to JOBLO.com. Thank you for watching our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our JOBLO videos channel. Tell your friends who like this sort of content and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all our latest videos. We're an independent company and we appreciate all of your support. I'm Alex Beatty with JOBLO.com.